Hey everyone, Tracy, Penny Pension Mom here. And one question I have seen over and over again is how in the world do I schedule on Tailwind? It's a little overwhelming for me. I know there are tutorials on Tailwind that are very helpful, so I do recommend you look at those. But I thought I would show you how I actually do my schedule, and maybe you'll get some inspiration and some ideas to simplify what it is you want to do with Tailwind. The one thing I always tell people to do is use the board lists on Tailwind. A board list is a group of boards that you would want to pin one specific pin to. For example, if you have some amazing Halloween content, you might want to pin that to your Halloween costumes, your recipes, your Halloween board, your viral Halloween pins, your group Halloween boards, whatever. By creating a list, you can schedule one pin to actually drip out onto various boards over whatever period of time that you want. If you would like every 2 days for one of your pins to show up, you can select that. You could have it once a week, whatever you would like. So let me just show you real quick on the group boards what that looks like. So you would go into Publish and Board Lists. Here's where you can add a list. You would just hit click to add list, and you would give it a name, and you'll start adding in your boards that you would like to have, added to your rotation. So you would have your list. I'm going to delete this because I don't want that. Okay, so the way that I recommend that you use board lists is completely different than what I think a lot of people do. I create multiple lists for certain types of content. So look right here. You'll see, Halloween 1 and 3, Halloween 2, 4, and 6, and Halloween 5 and 7. Ding, 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 7 days of the week. This kind of gives me a rotation. The same 9 boards are on all 3 groups, just arranged in a different fashion. So if I pin something using this board, it's going to first go to my Fall Fun group board. If I go to this one, it'll go to the Halloween Projects board. If I pin using this one, it first goes to my Halloween. But then it will go out into all the various boards that I want at any given time. Now, one thing you might notice is that, well, how do treats and costumes go together? Well, they don't. By having all of the possible boards in a list, I can select them all at once and then individually remove boards from being pinned to when I schedule a pin. So, let me show you now how I use these lists and how I actually schedule every single day. Now, don't be freaked out by my sheet. It's a little bit big, but I have a Google Sheet that I have everything on my site saved. I've got dates and all kinds of great information. When I am tracking my pin or pin through date, that is the last date which any pin that I schedule would go live. So, for example, if I have one pin today and I'm scheduling that to 5 boards and it would pin out every other day, then I would enter the date that's 10 days down the road. Don't worry, I'll show you this in a minute. Might be a little confusing to hear it. But let's get back to this board. So that's your pin through date. I have my post name, the link to my site, and then if I have a super popular pin or I have a great pin, I will share that pin link here. And I do this because there are times when I want to pin directly from my site, or there's times that I just want to grab the pin that's already on Pinterest and just repin it through Tailwind. It doesn't make a difference. It works both ways. So I group my content by category. At least every 6 to 8 weeks, I go through my Google Analytics to find out the top pins sending traffic to my site. Please do not rely upon what you see on Pinterest, because what I'm finding on Pinterest is not necessarily the same thing that I'm finding on my Google Analytics. So I have to dig into analytics and find out which pins are the best traffic getters. Those are the ones that I want to ensure I continue pinning. They've already proven to me that they're doing well, so I want to make sure that I keep doing so. So what I also do then is I'll put the pin link from those pins in here. Because there's times I've created different images, and it may be that one image is doing so much better than another one. So if I haven't had a chance to update my post yet, I can always ensure I'm pinning the right image with the right keywords, the right hashtags, and everything by pinning the pin that's already proven itself to work. I also add in my category, which no right typo there, but these are the ones that I want to pin on an ongoing basis. I then add a seasonal section where I put seasonal content like Halloween, Christmas, etc. Because I'm not always going to be pinning something that is seasonal because there may be a time that there's not a lot of seasonal content out there that has to be shared. But I'll have my seasonal broken out. And then I have other sections for the other content on my site. I have money saving. And so this is all of my money articles. And then I will also have recipes. And right here, you can see recipes. And then I also have DIY or lifestyle where I have organizing, cleaning, and things like that. So when I get ready to pin each day, I know I want to take a couple of pins from each section. Well, I have, 5 sections on here. So that's 10 pins right away if I take 2 from each section. That's 10 of the 30 that I'm pinning myself. Makes it really easy to figure out what I need to pin. So when I'm ready to start, I first look at my top pins. And I look at the date. And I look at what today's date. And today happens to be October 16th. So I'm going to go find a pin that maybe hasn't been shared recently. So I'm going to see, okay, this one was September 30th. That's been 2 weeks. It probably can be pinned again. So I'm going to come and grab this pin. I am using this one because this was the pin that is sending the most traffic to my site. It's this graphic, it's this keyword, it's everything. So I'm going to hit the schedule button. And wait for this to come up. And we can see it's got my hashtags, it's got all of my stuff in there. So I'm ready to schedule this. And what I want to do is I want to schedule it to one set of those money boards. So I first want to make sure I'm pinning it to my own. So I'm going to grab my own boards. And then I'm going to grab my group money boards, starting with Monday. Now, one thing you'll notice is a lot of them, they already have the yellow border, which means if you click on this, it says I pinned it previously. Well, if I look here, I can see it was a month. It's been 4 months, 2 months, a month. It's been a while since this thing was pinned to a lot of these boards. So I'm pretty safe to go ahead and let this schedule because it's not like I pinned it yesterday. It's been a little while. So you look at that one pin and look all those boards that I'm going to drip this one single pin into. So I'm going to click on Use Interval, which means that I can set the amount of time that happens between each pin. So let's say I want this to be every 3 days. You can slide this wherever you want it to go, and Pinterest will line it up accordingly. Or excuse me, Tailwind will line it up accordingly. So you can see it's going to start today at 7:34. Then what it does is it looks through all of my available time slots, that's every 3 days, and it finds one that it can pin. And that's within an hour or a few hours of the time that I originally scheduled it. So this one pin, let's look here. It's going to go every 3 days, which means this one pin is going to pin until the end of January. So my popular pin, I'm already guaranteeing that that's going to get, consistently into my boards and get hopefully shared over and over again consistently through the end of January. So I'm going to make a mental note, January 27th. I'll tell you why in a minute. So I'm going to hit Set Interval. Then I will hit Schedule. And it will spin. And then it's going to say, great, it's been saved. So my next thing is to come over to my board, and I'm going to find that post. And I am going to enter that last pin date. Now, when I come in here each day, what I'm looking for is something that has not been pinned within the last week or so. This tells me, I have scheduled that one, and it has been scheduled out through every one of my boards. I don't even do anything over here. This is where I'd record if I add it to just a single board. In this case, I scheduled it to everything for weeks. I'm basically done. So that one post has now been scheduled over and over again to every board, and now that content will drip out. So now I can come back over to Tailwind, and if I refresh my schedule, Tailwind always seems to take a minute to bring things back up. But over here, we're going to notice that that pin is right there. It just popped in. So here is that pin that I just scheduled. And so now it's there and you're going to see it. It's going to be pinned on here. We'll go through and you're going to see it every few days on the list. There it is again. And keep scrolling and you're going to see it come up over and over. There it is again. So that's mine again today, sorry. But if you go through here and look, you're going to see that the pin is clear through next year. Look at all of these pins I have scheduled, clear through next year. Okay? Well, I guess this pin isn't through next year. I apologize. I'm getting myself ahead of myself here. But you can at least see that that one pin has been scheduled every 3 days until the end of January. So now I'm done with that pin for a few months. I don't even have to worry about looking at that pin. Then I can continue to watch my analytics and see if that pin is continuing to get traction. And if not, guess what? When I update, that pin moves out as a top pin and something else will take its spot. But I can still come back the end of January and reschedule that pin to try to see if I can't push it back out again. Maybe try a new image, see if there's something I can do to make it work better. So that's how I would schedule out a massive group. Now, there may be instances where you only want to schedule it at one time. In that case, you would do the same thing. I'm going to find this pin that's done well for me. And I'm going to hit the schedule button. And it's going to pull over again all of the description, if there's any hashtags in there, etc. There's no hashtags, so I'm going to add in a few. New baby, and then DIY, like that, okay? And I only want this to go on a certain board. Let's just say I want to put it on my DIY board. And I'm going to see, it was just pinned 21 days ago. Because this is my own board, there's a good chance that that might be too soon. So I'm going to say, okay, I just did that one. So I'm going to say, let's try this crafts and DIY board. Look, that was even less. That was 6 days ago, so it's not time. So now I can say, all right, let's put that on my best of me board. And it's been 3 months. Guess what? I'm good. I just hit add to queue. I don't have to check the date, the time, or anything. It's just going to drop that little puppy into the next available slot. Let's go check that out and see. Always takes forever for Tailwind to reload. And look, there it is. It's right there in my list. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm just going to put the date in here. Now, I have these columns over here, and I was going to tell you guys, I used to keep track of every board, and I'd put an X, and I got overwhelmed. It was too much. So for me, I have this here, but not because I want to track where it's being pinned to, or if I'm, which board I last did, because I can easily go in and I know which boards are available. I can go through and find when I last pinned it, and for me, that works. If you need to keep track of where you pinned it, by all means, you can add X's in your schedule or whatnot. But honestly, I like this because of what I've got added. I've got my rules, and I've also got then a link to the board. So watch this. I can pop right over here and go right to that board, and I can just go ahead and pin this one right now. Let's see here. There, boom, I'm done. I've already pinned something from that group board. Took me 2 seconds. So that's how I schedule for an extended period of time and also for just one. Now let me kind of show you a little bit on that rotation one. So let's go grab this Santa Cups post. And here's how I actually will schedule from my site. I'll open it up, and I use my own pin button on my site. So you can pin either from a pin or from your site using this method. And I'm going to add in some hashtags. Party cups, party decor, Christmas, let's see, I can spell right, Christmas decor. So there we go. So I'm going to copy this. I recommend you copy this because there's times when you will schedule and this little pin it button and Tailwind, they don't talk very well, and so they may not pull the description. So I hit my pin to schedule, and I can see all of my stuff is here. So I'm going to do my Christmas list. Okay, now I'm going to go through this. Well, it's not a treat, so I'm going to turn that off. It's not a cookie. It's not an ornament. And it's not a dessert. But it is a DIY, a craft, and it fits in these different categories. So now I've got all of my Christmas boards were pulled up together for me, and then rather than me going through finding which ones to add, I'm subtracting from. And that saves me so much time. So again, I'm going to interval pin this one. And on this one, I will go like every 5 days, which means the last time this one's going to pin is going to be on November the 12th. So I will set the interval and schedule that. Come over here and add the date, 11, 12, 17. So now I've got that Christmas holiday one done. Now let's look at a few more of my fall ones. And now here's something I've done to make my life easier. When you see this where I have this D, that means this pin, which that shouldn't be 16, that should be 17. Can't type. This pin is scheduled for this period of time. I do not need to worry about that again. So you can see this Fabric Pumpkins pin, it's going to run through November 4th. It's already been scheduled to all of my boards. I don't even need to worry about it. The Pumpkin Cinnamon Rolls has not yet. So let's get that one scheduled because it's something that's relatable to Halloween and is fun for kids. So I will let this pull into Tailwind. And if I want to add hashtags, I can. And pumpkin. All right, so now I'm going to pick Halloween 1. And it's going to go to all of these. I'm going to take out this. It's not a decorating, and it wasn't the other one, but it's a treat. It'll work for those other ones. So I'm going to interval this. And because this happens to go past Halloween, I'm okay to let this one run into early November because it would work. So I'm going to go through November 3rd. So you can see I wasn't looking at the date up here. I was just sliding this to find out when do I want that to stop pinning. So we're going to go through November 3rd. So we're going to hit this. Then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say 11, 3, 17, and I'm done. So now I've got my melting, let's do the melting ghosts. Now I start with 1. So now I'm going to find Halloween 2. Now watch this. This is kind of cool. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to write, and that happens all the time. I'll go edit that out in a little bit. Accidentally pin something I don't mean to. All the time. So let's go like this. We're going to go Halloween treats, cookies, and ghosts. There we go. So I'm going to copy this and hit schedule. And it actually pulled all my stuff in. So now I can go Halloween 2. Now that pin is going to go into all of those boards, but at a different schedule. So now I'm mixing up my Halloween content and kind of dripping it into different boards and getting my content out there. This would not be a costume. This would not be decorating. So now that's all I need to do. Now, because this one is Halloween, I need to make sure my interval does not take me past October 31st. So I'm going to back that up. There's the 28th. So it's going to go every 2 days now, and it's going to drip it out until October 28th. So I'll hit set interval, hit schedule now, come over here, and I'm going to say 10, 28, 17, and I'm done. There you go. That's how I get my own content scheduled. Now, once I've scheduled 7 or 8 of my own, now I need to schedule other people's content because the idea is to mix it up. I do this through my tribes. Now, if you're not in any tribes yet, it's basically where you kind of collaborate. It's not a group board, and it should not even be thought of like a group board. Instead, it's where you tell people, hey, would you guys share this pin onto your boards for me? So I'm in several different tribes, and when you add something to a tribe, you should reciprocate and be willing to pay it forward to others. So I have this board here I'm in. It's called Finances and Frugality. And I've recently shared something, so I can come in here and figure out what I want to save. So let's see here. Let's call this one. We're going to change this to my personal finance board. And you kind of get to know which boards you want to add stuff to. and which ones you don't. So another one I want to go to that is really good for me is power pins. And I love my power pins because these have all been pinned at least 300 times, or they're supposed to. Someone did not do what they were supposed to. But like this one, it's been pinned a bunch of times. Not sure I like the font, but I go through and I find what I want to use. Like this one I like better because it's longer, 7,500 social share, and you can see 7,400 of them were just on Pinterest. This is if you're looking for something a little more viral you want to share, you can. So I can share that to my menu planning board. Then I can go find this other viral post. This one is one even better because it's got it's supposed to have 5,000. Someone again has pinned when they shouldn't. Please pay attention to your tribes, guys, and only share what you're supposed to. So this one's got a lot of great oomph behind it. And I'm going to share this one because sometimes if I can get a little bit of love in from Facebook by sharing, from Pinterest by sharing something that's done well, it can help me. And then I'm going to go find one more, and we're going to go into this all about money one. Share something financing. Oh, $15 gift ideas. I'm going to put that on my gift ideas board because that would do really well. There we go. And add that one. So now I can come back over and look at my scheduled pins. I have now added my content that's others. I've added my own. So we can see, great, I'm good. So now what I would be able to do is add a few more of mine, and then I can add more of others, and then more of mine, and more of others, and continue that back and forth until each day is filled up with the content that you want to share. So I hope this was helpful in showing you how I use Tailwind. I went through a lot relatively quickly. So please, please, please reach out and ask me questions if you have them. I am here to help. I hope you have a great day.